Welcome to Access Asia and a very happy new year to all of you. Coming up in this first new edition of 2025. Relatives of the 179 victims killed in South Korea's worst air disaster are still waiting for answers as investigators search for more clues as to what caused Jeju Air's passenger jet to go up in flames. 4 decades since a gas leak killed more than 15,000 people at a pesticide factory in Bhopal, India, authorities say the last remaining toxic waste has been removed from the site. And move over Master Pin Xiaopo. In Nepal, it's not a panda but a group of nuns that are wowing people with the art of kung fu. Authorities have lifted Jeju Air's Boeing 737-800, the only recognizable part of the aircraft, from wreckage in Muon, South Korea. On the 29th of December, the passenger jet coming from Thailand landed on its fuselage without landing gear and apparently without flaps deployed. After reporting a bird strike, it overran the runway, crashed into a wall and exploded, killing 179 people. Only 2 people, both crew members, survived. Authorities say it could take 6 months to 3 years to determine the exact cause of the accident. South Korea's worst air disaster comes amid a deep political crisis triggered by the now impeached former president Yoon Suk-yeol declaring martial law last month. Authorities in India have removed the last remaining toxic waste from the site of one of the world's worst industrial disasters in Bhopal, 40 years and 1 month after the deadly gas leak. Activists are saying the measures are insufficient to protect the environment and the population. The highly poisonous gas killed around 3,500 people within days and more than 15,000 in the years since. Over 1 million others have been affected. 4 decades on, new generations of people are still grappling with its effects and suffering various health issues and are calling for justice. Our correspondents have sent us this report.
40 years ago, on December 2nd, an extremely toxic gas, methyl isocyanate or MIC, leaked from this pesticide plant in the central Indian city of Bhopal. Within minutes, the gas spread across the city, choking people to death. Abdul Saeed worked in maintenance at the factory, owned by the US-based company Union Carbide.
It's a weird feeling coming here. There used to be a thriving plant, and the place is abandoned.
Saeed was on night duty when around 1 a.m. he heard the emergency sirens go off.
We came running and saw that MIC was leaking from the plant. For half an hour we kept spraying water, but we were unable to control the gas. We were the only people left at the end. We had an oxygen mask, the oxygen was low and the buzzers started ringing, but somehow we managed to escape.
It's considered one of the world's worst industrial disasters. Within 3 days, 3,500 people lost their lives. But the poisonous gas continued to kill tens of thousands for years to come. The official death toll stands at 15,000, although activists say it's much higher. Around 500,000 people within an 8-kilometer radius were exposed. Decades later, the toxic leak still affects people like Shagufta Syed. Her youngest son Amin, born in 2013, was diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
Keep your legs down so I can put on your shirt. Doctors say since it's congenital, there is no treatment or operation to cure it. I and his father were both exposed to gas, and somehow, I feel it's because of this. For now, I'm alive and taking care of Amin, but I'm worried about what will happen to him in the future.
Each day, Shagufta takes Amin to Chingari, a rehabilitation center for victims with congenital birth defects. The gas leak has impacted the second and even third generation of children. In total, over 1,300 people have received free therapy here.
ऐसे टंग वाली करना है ला एक बार और कर दे टंग वाली लाओ हाँ लाओ निकाले टंग
Rashida B lost 4 members of her family in the incident. The tragic loss motivated her to establish Chingari in 2006.
Now we see kids aged 3 to 6 months, which was not the case earlier. The government conducted research in the labour and delivery units of the hospital, where they found that 9 out of 100 kids born to gas victims were disabled in comparison to 1 out of 100 kids born to normal parents. The gas from Union Carbide was so poisonous that it would affect 3 to 4 generations of victims.
Many children here come from the surrounding areas of the factory, which health activists claim is contaminated with toxic waste that has seeped into the groundwater. Kapil Dubey is with the NGO Sambhavana Trust.
Namaste.
They conduct free medical checkups in the area.
Heavy metals like nickel, as well as pesticides, which can cause cancer, have been identified in the contaminated water. Skin, stomach, menstruation issues, and deformities in kids. This is what we usually come across.
Rashna Dhingra, a social activist, has been fighting for the rights of the gas victims and has called for the decontamination of the area since 2003. She takes us to the dumping ground of the factory.
These were very badly built ponds. They were called solar evaporation ponds. The idea was that they would just dump all the toxic waste and everything would evaporate and nothing would leach. So when this plastic lining breached, which usually breaches, all the toxic waste started seeping into the groundwater. Here, the officials are trying to defend themselves that, no, we did everything. We have filed a petition recently in the Supreme Court saying that government-owned data acknowledges that there are thousands of gas victims suffering from cancers and kidney failure, and they have been categorized in this minor injury category where they have only gotten $500. They should be compensated as per permanent injuries. Already 40 years is too long. Yeah, we have lost too many people with untimely deaths and untimely illnesses.
Rachna believes that a one-time payment is not enough to compensate for the hardship the people of Bhopal suffer each day. The disaster remains an open wound for the victims who continue to suffer its lethal consequences. Activists say they will not stop their fight until the government takes full responsibility and compensates the victims, whose numbers continue to grow each year.
France 24's Kanza Junet and Martin Butler with that report. It was at the end of 2019 that Chinese health authorities reported cases of viral pneumonia in Wuhan. The virus then went on to kill around 7 million people, upended the global economy, and led to soaring inflation. 5 years on from the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, the World Health Organization has urged China to share more data on the origins of the deadly outbreak to prevent and prepare for future epidemics. Brian Quinn has more.
760 million cases, 6.9 million deaths. National economies brought to a grinding halt amid mass lockdowns. 5 years after the appearance of a novel coronavirus that would become known as COVID-19, the World Health Organization has called for more transparency from the disease's country of origin, China.
This is a moral and scientific imperative. Without transparency, sharing, and cooperation among countries, the world cannot adequately prevent and prepare for future epidemics and pandemics.
On December 31st, 2019, the WHO's China office picked up a media report from health officials in the city of Wuhan about an outbreak of viral pneumonia. Its origins remain unclear. In 2021, a WHO mission to the Wuhan area concluded that the virus had probably found its way from bats to humans via a third host at a live animal market, but that more research was necessary. Beijing, though, declined to authorize further visits. The Chinese government insists it has done everything it should.
5 years ago, after the outbreak of the pandemic, China immediately shared epidemic information and viral gene sequence with the WHO and the international community. We shared our prevention, control, and treatment experience, making a huge contribution to the world's pandemic fighting work.
A 2-year investigation by U.S. lawmakers recently concluded that COVID-19 most likely leaked from a Chinese virology lab near Wuhan. The WHO's Director General, meanwhile, says that while the world has strengthened its pandemic prevention defenses since 2019, Many of the weaknesses that gave COVID a foothold still exist today.
And finally, hand chops, high kicks, sword work. Some martial arts have historical ties with Buddhist monasteries, but it's not just male monks that practice them. In Nepal, a group of religious women dubbed the Kung Fu nuns were proud to show off their skills as they celebrated the reopening of their monastery, closed since the COVID pandemic. Aurore Chloé Dupuis has the story.
Nestled on top of a hill, overlooking the Kathmandu Valley, the Druk Amitabha Monastery is a peaceful, spiritual centre. Home to 300 nuns who pray, clean, cook, but also practice martial arts. They're dubbed the Kung Fu nuns. Their mission: stay strong to help others.
We do Kung Fu to keep ourselves mentally and physically fit. Our aim is to promote women's empowerment and gender equality.
This is the only female order in the Buddhist monastic system, largely dominated by men. Nuns here gained the same status as monks 1,000 years ago, when a powerful man slightly below the Dalai Lama in the Tibetan hierarchy allowed them to learn Kung Fu. Aged 17 to 30, these nuns come from Bhutan, India, Nepal, and are devoted to serve humanity.
Helping others is our religion. Whatever is more beneficial for other people, I would like to do that. We do a lot of self-defense workshops, and we do a lot for environment.
The nuns have just finished building more than 200 homes in Nepal, hit by a deadly earthquake in 2015. From humanitarian workers to solar panel technicians, animal rescuers to bike riders, these are no ordinary Kung Fu nuns.
And that's all for this edition of Access Asia. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned if you can. There's more world news coming up here on France 24.